St. Augustine, Florida, the nation's oldest city, wore its history like a shroud, and on Halloween, that shroud seemed to thin, revealing the spectral echoes of its turbulent past. Its Spanish colonial architecture, cobblestone streets, and ancient fort, Castillo de San Marcos, spoke of conquistadors, pirates, and centuries of conflict. For Captain Benjamin Ben Carter, a retired naval historian and amateur treasure hunter, this Halloween wasn't about ghost stories. It was about finally deciphering the legendary pirate's Glimmer, a cryptic map rumored to lead to a lost pirate hoard, buried somewhere beneath the city's oldest graveyard, Tolomato Cemetery. He dismissed the numerous tales of spectral apparitions and phantom whispers that supposedly plagued the cemetery as mere local color, a quaint backdrop for his grand historical quest. Ben, a man of gruff exterior but keen intellect, had dedicated his retirement to the pursuit of this legend. He was staying at the oldest inn in the city, the St. Francis Inn, a colonial-era building with creaking floors and a pervasive scent of salt and ancient wood. Every night, the distant clang of a ship's bell and the faint, melancholic strains of a sea shanty seemed to drift through his window, sounds he attributed to the lively tourist district, but which subtly stirred a primal sense of unease within him. His research had led him deep into the archives of the St. Augustine Historical Society, poring over centuries-old manifests, naval logs, and fragmented pirate journals. The pirate's Glimmer was supposedly left by Captain Blackheart Bartholomew, a notoriously cruel but incredibly cunning buccaneer who terrorized the Florida coast in the late 17th century. The map was a series of riddles referencing landmarks within the city, but always culminating in a final clue tied to Tolomato Cemetery and, crucially, to the Glimmer itself, a unique, iridescent pearl said to mark the treasure's exact location. However, a consistently recurring warning in his research was about the curse of Blackheart. Legend had it that Blackheart, after a particularly gruesome Halloween raid on St. Augustine, had buried his crew alive in Tolomato Cemetery to ensure the loyalty of the last few men entrusted with his treasure. Their tormented spirits, bound to the site, would guard the hoard, and anyone attempting to claim it on Halloween night would face not just their wrath, but Blackheart's last trick, a horrifying fate far worse than death. Julian dismissed these as superstitious deterrents, designed to protect the treasure, but the sheer consistency of the narrative across multiple disparate sources gave him a subtle, nagging doubt. Mama Elena, an ancient cryptic woman who ran a small curio shop near the cemetery, looked at him with eyes that seemed to have seen centuries and simply whispered, "On All Hallows' Eve, the Glimmer shines. But it blinds those who seek greed, Captain. Beware the trick." She then pointed to a collection of shrunken, grotesque pumpkin heads on her shelf, their eyes hollow, their grins sinister, saying they represented the lost faces of those who sought the Glimmer. Halloween night in St. Augustine was a spectacle of colonial-era costumes and raucous celebration. The streets of the French Quarter teemed with revelers, but as Ben approached Tolomato Cemetery, the celebratory sounds faded, replaced by the rustle of ancient oak leaves and the eerie silence of the grave. The cemetery, with its crumbling coquina walls and ornate, weathered gravestones, was lit by the occasional flicker of antique street lamps and the faint, unsettling glow of carved pumpkins placed reverently or fearfully on various graves. Ben, armed with his deciphered map, a sturdy shovel and a powerful flashlight, made his way to the oldest section, where Blackheart's crew was supposedly interred. He carried his own small carved pumpkin, its LED light casting a steady orange glow, a practical tool rather than a superstitious offering. He reached the coordinates indicated by the final riddle, a cluster of ancient, unmarked graves beneath a sprawling oak tree, its branches draped in Spanish moss. The air here was heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth, decaying foliage, and a faint briny tang of the nearby ocean, mingled with something else, something cold and metallic like old coins and human fear. He placed his pumpkin near the base of the oak, its orange glow casting long dancing shadows on the weathered gravestones. As he began to dig, the ground, initially soft, soon gave way to hardened earth. He worked tirelessly, the rhythmic scrape of his shovel against the soil echoing eerily in the oppressive silence. Hours passed. The moon, a crescent sliver, cast barely any light, leaving him almost entirely dependent on his flashlight and the pumpkin's glow. Suddenly his shovel hit something solid. Not rock, but something hollow. His heart pounded with anticipation. Treasure? He frantically cleared away the earth, revealing a small, intricately carved wooden chest, encrusted with barnacles and centuries of grime. He carefully pried it open. Inside, nestled on a bed of decaying silk, was not gold, but a single, large, iridescent pearl. It shimmered with an otherworldly glow, constantly shifting colors, green, blue, purple, but always returning to a dominant, pulsating orange. The pirate's glimmer. As Ben reached for the pearl, a chorus of guttural groans, low and agonizing, erupted from the surrounding graves. The ground beneath his feet trembled violently. The air plunged to an icy cold, sucking the warmth from his body. The numerous jack-o'-lanterns scattered across the cemetery, which had been glowing faintly, suddenly flared with an intense, malevolent orange light. Their carved faces twisting into horrifying, screaming visages. From the graves around him, spectral figures began to rise. They were skeletal, clad in tattered 17th century pirate garb, their bodies shimmering with an eerie, pulsating orange glow. Their eye sockets were hollow, but inside, 2 pinpricks of intensely malevolent orange light burned. Fixed on Ben, these were the tormented spirits of Blackheart's crew, awakened by the Glimmer, a tall, imposing figure, his spectral form radiating cold fury, rose from the grave directly behind the chest. He wore a captain's coat, spectral but distinct, and a feathered tricorn hat. His head, however, was a grotesque flaming pumpkin, its carved mouth stretched into a wide, menacing grin, its fiery orange eyes burning with malevolence. Captain Blackheart Bartholomew. His last trick was revealed. The pumpkin heads at Mama Elena's shop, he realized with a jolt of horror, were not just symbols. They were foreshadowing. Blackheart extended a spectral, skeletal hand, its long, bony fingers reaching for the pearl. His voice, a chilling whisper that echoed from the ground itself, filled Ben's mind. Greed, Captain. The Glimmer blinds all who seek greed. The spectral crew surged forward, their skeletal hands grasping at Ben, their glowing orange eyes fixed on the pearl. He was trapped. This wasn't just a treasure. It was a curse, a bait for the greedy, designed to lure them to their eternal damnation. The Glimmer was not a reward, but the key to his capture. The catalyst for the Halloween curse. Ben, in a moment of desperate clarity, remembered a detail from Blackheart's legend. He was said to be obsessed with true loyalty and despised betrayal. He had buried his crew alive precisely because he doubted their loyalty. And Mama Elena had mentioned, beware the trick. The Glimmer was the trick. He looked at Blackheart, his glowing pumpkin head radiating malevolence. You buried your own crew, Blackheart, Ben yelled, his voice echoing in the cold night air. You betrayed them. This isn't loyalty, it's cruelty. And your trick is a trap for the desperate, not a test of character. Blackheart's flaming pumpkin head flickered. The rage in his glowing orange eyes wavered, replaced by a momentary flash of something akin to shame, then fury. The spectral crew paused, their skeletal forms vibrating with unease. Ben realized that Blackheart's last trick wasn't just to trap new victims, but to force them to acknowledge his twisted sense of justice, to validate his cruelty. He wanted someone to understand his betrayal, to feel his torment. But Ben, as a naval historian, saw only the depth of his monstrosity. He remembered an old naval custom. To honor the fallen, one must give them a proper burial, a eulogy, and a final toast to their memory, even if they were pirates. It was about respect for the sea and its dead. With a desperate gamble, Ben snatched his own humble jack-o'-lantern from the ground. This isn't your treasure, Blackheart, he cried, holding the glowing pumpkin aloft. This is their tomb, and on this night, Halloween, they deserve their peace. He then began to recite a traditional sailor's eulogy for the lost at sea, impromptu but heartfelt. To those who sailed beyond the horizon, whose anchor is weighed, and whose journey is done, may your passage be swift and your rest be deep. Fair winds, brave souls, until we meet again. As Ben spoke, the words, imbued with genuine respect, resonated through the cemetery. The spectral crew of Blackheart, previously menacing, began to shimmer with a faint golden light, replacing their malevolent orange. Their hollow eyes, though still glowing, now held a glimmer of peace. They were finally being honored, not just as pirates, but as men whose lives ended in betrayal. Blackheart roared, a sound of pure frustration and fading power. His flaming pumpkin head flickered violently, its malevolent orange dimming. He had wanted defiance, greed, torment. He had received honor, understanding, and an unexpected plea for peace for his victims. His trick had been turned against him. The glimmer, the iridescent pearl, which had been pulsating with orange light, slowly began to lose its color, becoming a dull, lifeless white. Blackheart's spectral form began to dissolve, breaking into fragments of orange light that dissipated into the night air. With a final silent snarl, he vanished. His curse broken, his torment ended. The spectral crew, now glowing with a gentle golden light, bowed their heads in silent gratitude. One by one, they too dissolved into shimmering golden particles that drifted upwards into the Halloween sky, finally finding their eternal rest. The cemetery returned to its eerie silence, but a sense of profound peace now permeated the air. The intense cold receded, replaced by a subtle, almost comforting warmth. The remaining jack-o'-lanterns in the cemetery, their malevolent glow gone, now simply provided a warm, ambient light. Ben Carter, the skeptical historian, stood alone in Tolomato Cemetery, the lifeless pearl in his hand. His quest for treasure had led him to a far more profound discovery, the power of human respect, even for the damned. He kept the pearl, no longer iridescent, as a reminder of the night he faced a pirate's curse and brought peace to tormented souls. He never sought treasure again. Instead, he worked with the St. Augustine Historical Society to establish a new section in Tolomato Cemetery, a place of quiet remembrance for those lost to the sea, regardless of their past, and every Halloween in St. Augustine. As the city celebrated, Captain Benjamin Carter would light a single, carved pumpkin, its orange light a beacon of remembrance, placing it at the entrance of Tolomato Cemetery, not just for the city's spectral residents, but as a silent testament to the pirate's last trick and the unexpected way an old sailor finally found his peace, ensuring that on this night, the veil between worlds offered not just terror, but also, finally, a glimmer of redemption.